All right, we are going to move into the 3D world. And I like to do this in this class and have you do a little bit of 3D work just so that I can whet your appetite for what's to come in the second part of this class. It's really, there's some just amazing stuff that you can do. But this is going to be the drawing that we are going to draw, and what I'd like you to do, and we're not going to dimension this and not do a lot of fancy stuff. I just want to sort of give you the basic idea of where you can go with 3D work. So when you draw this, don't worry about dimensioning stuff. If you want to dimension it, great. I mean, it's practice is the name of the game with this program. But you don't have to dimension it. All I want you to, and actually you don't even have to dimension this leg. You're going to draw it, but you don't have to dimension it. Okay? All right, so the first thing I want you to do is to open up your 11 by 8.5 template. All right, so open that up, and then what you're going to do is go to your layers, and I want you to create some new layers. We're going to do, and we're not going to worry about fills and all of that stuff. We're going to keep this real simple just so we can dabble in 3D. So I want you to create a layer that's called leg. The scale will be 1/2 inch equals 1 foot, or 1 to 24. Title block is already there. We've got the front view, side view, and model, and those are all 1/2 inch equals 1 foot. And if you will, put them in this order. This is a stacking order, and we'll get into that later on, but if you'll just get them in this order, that would be great. And what you can do is, for example, if leg is down at the bottom, you can just grab it right here and move it up. And move it, let me move it one more time. There we go. Leg. So leg, title block, front view, side view, and model. Those are going to be your layers. Let's look at classes. We're just going to draw everything on the none class. A little later on in the class, I'll talk to you about none and why it's called none. I think I understand it. But anyway, that's what we're going to draw on. And I actually did give it a fill here. Let's look at this. Let me double click on this guy and open it up. There's the class of none. Use it creation. The style is going to be solid fill with some sort of color. I tried to do something that was sort of wood looking. And then the pen is not really important. I've got 0.05 as the thickness. You could make it like 0.15, might be a little better. And that's it for that. All right. And then, of course, title info is already there. So the only thing you have to do is, well, you don't have to do anything as far as creating new classes. You're just going to say use it creation. You're going to give it a fill and make the line thickness 0.15. Okay, great. And with that, with having done that, we can start drawing, or you can start drawing. Now, up until now, we haven't paid much attention to these views over here. This area right here. And if you look at the drop down, we've got top view. Now the difference between top plan and top view is that top plan is a 2D view. Okay, so it's looking down on it like you draw a floor plan or an elevation that's just on one plane. That's the most common one, and that's the one we'll use the most in this class. Top is actually a 3D top view. So if you've drawn an object like this table right here that's being shown in an isometric view, if you wanted to keep it in 3D and do a top view, that's what you would choose there. And of course, then we've got right, bottom, looking up at it, looking from the back, from the left side, right isometric, left isometric, right rear, and all so on and so forth. Okay, so we're going to start out. We're just going to draw this as this leg as a 2D object. Now, I drew this leg for you and for me as a model for us to sort of use to create our legs on the table. So you don't have to draw this. What you're going to draw is, actually you're going to do one drawing called model, and then from that you're going to draw a front view and a side view. That's all you have to do for this. You don't have to dimension anything. Just have fun drawing. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so we have our template open. You've changed the classes to look sort of like that. Your color could be different if you like. Line weight 0.15. And the design layers, we have leg, front, side, model. Now, the other thing that I want to point out to you is up here you should be in top plan. Now let's review this for just a second. If you're going to draw in top plan, you're going to be drawing a 2D object. Now you can turn it into a 3D object by extruding it, but top plan is designed for 2D orthographic drawings. We want to draw this table in 3 dimensions. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw the leg first, and when you think about that leg, ask yourself, well, what would be the easiest way to draw this thing? What view should I be in when I draw it? Would I want to be in plan view? Nah, that wouldn't do me any good because I couldn't get that bevel on the leg. Probably front view would be the most obvious view to be in. So let's go up here to views and let's change it to front view. And this horizontal and green line appears. This horizontal and vertical green line appears. Now I want to show you what that is actually telling you. That in front view, all right, now think about this. You're in front view. If I rotate this, here's my x-axis, here's my y-axis, and here's my z-axis. So whenever you get into one of these 3D views over here, left, right isometric, bottom, so on and so forth. Let's look at right isometric. There you can see there's your x-axis, your y-axis, and your z-axis. So it's just a little reminder to you that, oh, I'm in a 3D view. Now if I hit Command 5 and go back to a 2D view, I lose that grid. I don't see that those axes. So let's put it in front view. So we're going to draw the leg first, and we're going to draw it in front view, and I'm going to show you 2 ways to draw the leg. You can choose which one you like the best. Probably the most intuitive way to draw the leg is to draw it as a polygon and use the Polygon Tool, just like you would if you picked up a pencil and and put it on a piece of paper. You'd draw a line, you'd draw another line, another line, another line, and then you'd connect it up and your leg would be done. So let's do it that way first. Alright, so we're in the class of none. I hate to pound on this, but we're in the front view. We are in, and none is use at creation, and we're in front view over here. Okay, here we go. Polygon Tool. I'm going to click right there at the center, and I'm going to drag across, and I'm going to hit the tab key to get me inside that little dialog box there, and I'm going to put in 4 inches. I can see it's at 180 degrees. That's good. That means I'm horizontal. And it also means that I could draw anywhere within this circle here that I wanted. All right, but I want to be at 180 degrees. I'm going to go up 35.25, and I'm going to click. I'm going to come across at 10 inches, come down 8 inches, and connect it up. Now, because I drew this on the front 3D plane or 3D view, does that mean that that object is 3D? No, it doesn't, because we haven't given it a thickness yet. We need to give it a thickness. Right now it's just like a sheet of paper. Okay, so let's do that, and the way we're going to do it is we're going to hit Command E for extrude. So we're going to create an extrusion. We're going to give it thickness, and the thickness is going to be 3/4 of an inch. Okay, now watch what happens to the fill. The fill goes away. When you're in a 3D view, the fill will go away. It's designed to do that. You will bring it back at the end once you've got everything drawn, and you will do that by rendering it. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit here. But anyway, there's our leg. Okay, so we've got one leg drawn. Now, let's go to Plan View. Command 5. We could be in top view as well, doesn't matter. And let's zoom in on this leg. Now, these legs are mitered on the corner, so we're looking down on the leg now, and what you're seeing there, that line, this is a wireframe drawing, so you're able to see through it. What you're seeing is that's the leg down at the base, at the floor. Let's go to top. Okay, so that's the base. That right there is the base of the leg, and then this 10-inch portion is at the top. You're just seeing the little cut where it comes down at an angle to there. All right. Now what we have to do is we have to put a miter on this right here. We want to put a miter on. Now how do we do that? Alright, so what you're going to do is select the Polygon Tool again, and we're going to draw a triangle. A triangle that has at least, this angle here has to be 45 degrees. That's key. Make sure it says 45. Come on over anywhere you want. Doesn't have to be perfect. And double click at the end. Alright, so I've got a triangle drawn there. Now I need to extrude this triangle. I need to give it depth or thickness. Now think about where you are. You're in top plan. You're looking down on this thing. You've drawn a triangle, and the triangle is a flat plane. We need to give it thickness. Well, if we look down, the dimension that we can't see is the 35 1/4, isn't it? Just think about that for a second. We can see the 10. We can see it's 3/4 of an inch in thickness. We can see that the leg is 4 inches, but we can't see the 35 1/4 dimension. So let's extrude this triangle to be, I would make it 38. Make it longer than you need, because this triangle is going to go away in just a moment. All right. So that you extruded it, the fill went away. Let's go back up here to front view. And let's pull back, and there it is. You can see the triangle. All right, now what are we going to do? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to subtract out this triangle from this leg, and it's going to put that 45-degree angle miter on it. So select both objects. I've got the triangle selected. I'm going to hold the Shift key down, and I'm going to select the leg as well, so they're both selected now. I'm going to go up to Model, and I'm going to say Subtract Solid. Now, it's going to ask me, which item do you want to stay? Which one do you want, and which one do you want to go away? The one that's highlighted in red is the one that you want to stay. If you wanted the triangle to stay and the leg to go away, then you'd highlight the triangle. But that's not what we want. Let's go back. So we've got that highlighted, and let's go OK. triangle goes away. Remember, we're in isometric view now, so, or excuse me, we're in a wireframe, and so now we can actually see the miter. Let's look at it in plan view. Command 5. Look at that. There's your leg, and you can see the miter. Pretty cool, huh? Now, think about this table. Let's go back and look at the original model here. Think about this table. You're going to have on each corner 2 legs that are joined by the miter. All right, so we need a total of how many legs? 8 legs? Absolutely. We've got some beams that we're going to have to draw here and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's think about the easiest way that we could draw those 8 legs. Let me show you. Now let me get back to my original drawing. Okay, now I'm in plan view. Now what I want to do is I'm going to duplicate this leg and mirror it. So I'm going to go to the mirror duplicate tool. Make sure that it's in the mirror duplicate mode. This would just mirror it. This would mirror duplicate it. And I'm going to click on the miter here. I'm going to click on the miter there. Voila, I have 2 legs. Now let's back out just a little bit. What do we want to do next? Well, we could do this. Let me back out a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Now, what we can do is we can group these together. All right, so we'll select them both, draw a marquee around both of them, and let's group them. Command G. Okay, now we won't have any, we won't be able to pull them apart and screw the thing up. But how can we draw the other legs? Well, let's do it this way. Oh, I know. Let me go back. I was going to show you 2 ways to draw the leg, and I didn't do that. Let me go back. Now here's another way that you could draw the legs. You could select the rectangle tool, draw a rectangle that is 10 inches in the x-axis and 35 1/4 in the y-axis. Okay, now I have a leg, but I don't have this cutout in it. So now I'm going to take the Polygon Tool, and I'm going to go. I'm going to draw a triangle that's 6 inches. 10 minus 4 equals 6. 6. That's good. And hit return or enter. Come up. 27 1/4 tells me that on the plan. So I'm going to tab in there 27.25. Click and then come back down here. Now I'm going to place the triangle right on the rectangle. Select both of them. I'm going to go up here to modify and go to clip surface. Now notice that the rectangle is no longer highlighted. You don't have your little selection handles, but the triangle is. So what you can simply do, since the triangle is selected, you can just hit delete. And there's your leg. Still have to extrude it, Command E, select it, Command E, and make the extrusion 3/4 of an inch. And you have a leg. And you'd go through similar, you do the same thing as far as getting the 45-degree miter on it. All right, I just wanted to show you that. Let's go back now to plan view, Command 5. All right, so now we're back to our leg in plan view. Let's think about how we might duplicate this thing. Now we've turned it into an object that is grouped, which is good because we can't screw things up. let's go over and look at the original drawing just for a second. Here's our front view right here. Now, the table is 72 inches, 82 inches, 92 inches, isn't it? So we have 92 from 96 is 4. We have a 2-inch overhang on each end. So 92 inches is the magic number for us. Let's bring this back and let's do this. Let's select the leg, have it selected, and now you're going to select the mirror and make sure that mirror duplicate is selected. Come over here, hover around that corner, and actually let me zoom in just a little bit more so you can maybe see it a little better. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now the mirror duplicate, I'm going to come here and get that floating datum, and I'm going to slide across over here. I'm going to hit the tab key, and I'm going to ask myself, where is the center point? It's 92 inches in length. What's half of 92? Well, I don't want to do that in my head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tab again, and I'm going to go 92 divided by 2. And let Vectorworks do the math for me. And then hit return or enter. Now that's giving me my mirror line. I'm not done yet. That's just saying, okay, if this were a book, this would be page 1, and then you're going to turn it over, and the back of it is going to, page 1 still going to be there, and you're going to have page 2 on the other side. So I'm going to click anywhere along this red line and make sure that I go vertically. And there's my other leg. Pretty cool. All right, now, and I'm doing all of this in plan view, aren't I? All right. Now let's draw the beam. And the beam is 8 inches by 72 inches, isn't it? All right, so I'm going to double click. I'm going to put in 72, and I'm going to put in 8 inches. No. I'm going to put in 3/4 of an inch. All right, you got to think 3D. You're in a view where the thickness is actually the y-axis. And I'm going to make this left corner the insertion point. I'm going to click here now, and I'm going to go right here and click on that endpoint. Now I see the fill, so I know it's not a 3D object yet. I have to extrude it. Command E, and I'm going to extrude it to 8 inches. Alright, now this is where it really gets fun, I think. If you look at your object info palette, you will see that the bottom z-axis is at 0. It's x is 72, y is 3/4, and the extrusion is 8 inches, and it's sitting down on the ground level. That's not where you want the beam. Let's look at it in front view. See, there it is, sitting on the ground plane. We want it to come up. Now we could just physically move it up, but we know that this is 35 1/4 minus 8 to right there, isn't it? So let's do this. Let's put the bottom z-axis is 35.25 minus 8. Let's try that, see what happens. Huh, jumped right into place. Beautiful. All right, Command E, Command 5. Let's go back and look at it in 3D again. I think at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to group again. I'm going to go ahead and group. Command G. So now I have these two groups within a group of the whole thing. It's just a safety precaution to keep me from inadvertently splitting things up. All right, now I'm going to draw the other side. Now let's go back and look at our drawing. The tabletop is 48 inches. The legs are 44 inches apart. All right, so 44 is our magic number. And let's get the mirror tool again. So let's go here, get our floating datum. And we want to go 0 in the x-axis. And we want to go 44 divided by 2 in the y-axis. All right, and then let's draw our mirror line right here. And now we have all 4 sets of legs and 2 beams, and all we have to do is draw one more beam. And I hope you guys see that once this is, I know, daunting for you now. For a lot of you, it's daunting. It's just like, oh God, how am I ever going to remember this? Practice, practice, practice. You will get so used to these moves if you keep using the program that they're second nature to you. In fact, it's difficult for me to teach this class because I have to, I do things that I don't even think about. And if I don't tell you, then it doesn't make any sense to you. So I have to really think about, everything I'm doing. And actually, it's good for me because it really gives me a deeper understanding of the program than I would have if I didn't teach it. Well, anyway, that's just a side note. Okay, now let's draw another rectangle that is width 3/4 of an inch, and the height is going to be 44 minus 20, right? We've got a 10-inch leg over here and a 10-inch leg over here, and that's going to give us the rectangle that we want right there. We can leave the insertion point right where it is and come and click right there. And there it is. Command E. And we're going to extrude it to 8 inches. And we're going to look at our object info palette. And so, since we know it's on the ground level, we're going to put it at 27.25 or 35 1/4 minus 8. All right, and boom, voila, there we are. All right, now we just need to do one more thing for the frame, and that is we need to move this beam over to the other side, or duplicate it. So once again, mirror duplicate tool, mirror and duplicate is selected. This time I don't have to do any floating datums or anything. I'm just going to come to the midpoint, click, and there it is. All right, now drum roll, let's take a look at it in an isometric view. So come over here, go up to right isometric, and there's your table. Pretty cool, huh? And you can grab your flyover tool, and you can make it a little bit more realistic looking by doing that. Okay, great. Well, we've got the table drawn. Let's go back to plan view, Command 5. We have to draw the tabletop next. All right, so let's do that. Easy peasy. Double click on the rectangle tool. The width is going to be 96 inches. The width, or the height, is going to be 48 inches. And I am going to go ahead and use that same insertion point, and I'm going to put it right there and click. I'm going to extrude it so that I can see it. We know the tabletop is 3/4 of an inch in height, but it's not properly located, is it? We want that 2-inch margin all the way around. Now we've got a 4-inch margin here and a 4-inch margin over here. So with it still selected, I'm going to go Command M, and I'm going to say, would you please move it -2 in the x-axis and -2 in the y-axis. And there it is. Now it's sitting in the right place. But take a look in the object info palette. It's sitting down on the ground, isn't it? Sitting on the ground plane. So let's move it up 35.25. And there we have it. All right. And while we're at it, we know the tabletop is made out of melamine, so it's white. So let's change the fill on the top to white. All right, got that done. Now let's take a look at it again. And we'll go, I'm just going to rotate it and put it right there like that. Now I think what I'll do is, what you should do is group the table together, make it all one group. All right, so we'll put the table right there. You don't need it as far over as I had it on this other drawing because you're not going to draw the leg there. Okay. And actually, as it turns out, you don't need this leg layer, but that's okay. All right, now I want to show you how we can get some different views. Let's copy this. Let's Command C or Control C on a Windows machine. All right, now I just noticed that I had all of you draw this on the wrong view. We drew it on front view. Now really we want this to be our model. That's the way I approach this usually. Is that I will have the one that's going to rotate around and we're going to look at it in different views. I'll call it the model, and then I'll create new ones that I'll call front view, side view, plan view, whatever it might be. Okay, so let's go ahead and change this. Let's select this object, which we can now just with one click we can select it. Notice it's on the class of none and it's in front view. Let's change that layer that it's on to model. Okay, and then let's go up here and make the active layer model, right? So that it actually, the computer knows that we're on model. And let's go to right isometric. There we go. And then so you can see that by screwing up like that, you can create a lot of work for yourself. But actually, I'm kind of glad I did that in a way because, I wanted to show you that it's not the end of the world. If you do put it on the wrong layer, you're just going to have to make some changes. So let me do that again. So what I did was I selected the object and I actually changed the layer that it was on to model. The problem was it wasn't the active layer up here, so I had to change and make model the active layer. And then I had to give it the view that I wanted, and I wanted it to be right isometric, and then I made it a custom view. Okay? All right, so there's our table. Now let's do this. Now let's select this table and Command C or Control C, so you're going to copy. We've got it on our clipboard now. Let's now go to front view and let's make it the active layer. And let's go up here to front view. Notice that this didn't change. Why didn't it change to front view? Because we had gone to a new layer. And now you can kind of see the purpose of these layers. Now there's another way that we can do this through viewports, but I kind of wanted to show it to you this way first. Viewports is much easier, but I want you to really understand what these layers and classes are doing. This layer is not active now. I can't select this table, but what I can do is I can hit Command V, and there's my table in front view. Now I can go to side view and go over here to right or left. Let's go to left side and Command V. I didn't have to copy it again because it's still on the clipboard. Command V. There it is, and I'm just going to essentially just move it over here. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, we need to render these, and we're going to have to render each layer separately. So let's go ahead and we'll start with the side view, and we'll go View, Rendering. Notice here it says that it's in wireframe. Now there's lots of rendering options, and I don't want to get into that. It's too much of a side trip. What I'd like you to do is select Final Shaded Polygon. Notice that your colors came back. Got your white top and your sort of tan legs and beam. Now let's go over here to Front View. Now this is active. I can't select this, I can't select this, but I can select this guy because this layer is active. I'm gonna go to View. I don't have to click on the object. I'm just gonna go to View and Rendering, and we'll do Final Shaded Polygon again. There's the color. Now let's go back to our model, make model the active class, and let's do something different this time. We'll go to View, Rendering. Let's go to Rendering, and let's just go to Sketch. It's a pretty funky looking sketch. Let's clean it up maybe a little bit here. Sketch options. I've got it rough. Let's do it. Let's try certain and see how that looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks like a nice little sketch. All right, there you have it.